Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. I'm Imroatul Mukarromah, and I'm from 5th C class, English department, IIM Surakarta. And now I want to explain my proposal. Before I start my presentation, I will introduce myself before. My name is Imroatul Mukarromah, and my students' number are 143222092. Well, my proposal has title about the correlation between teaching learning process on speaking skill and students' speaking ability on 7th grade of SMPN 1 Jawas. The background of the study is, as we know, language is the important thing that can relate people to other people, to communicate, because in language there contains many symbols that can relate people from one people to other people. Why? Because language is very important. Without language, people can communicate each other. People use language to take part in an environment because language is one tool to deliver information, ideas, feeling from someone. In our country, Indonesia, we use Indonesian language as our national language. Then English in our country has position in a second language, or maybe it is not maybe again, yes, English is English as the foreign language for Indonesia. From these problems, many students cannot speak English easily, and English is very important language that have to students learn. Why? Because English is international language. We know the importance English language, that since kindergarten until university level, English is taught by teacher to students. This is the proof of why English language is important. And then speaking is the important skill because it is one of the abilities to carry out conversation. The students should have the ability to speak English in order they can communicate with others. Yes, I mean, students have to should have ability in speaking. Student who has ability in speaking with student who have not ability in speaking, it's different. Yes, because the intelligence between student who have high intelligence with student who have low intelligence is different. That's the use of English for speaking is not simple because the speaker should master several important elements such as pronunciation, grammar, vocabulary, fluency, and comprehension. Then speaking is the important aspect that can learn, that can deliver to student to learn English language, especially in speaking, because speaking is very important. Yes, based on the background above, the aim of the research is to answer about the correlation between teaching learning process on speaking skill and students' speaking ability on 7th grade of SMPN 1 Jawas, especially in teaching speaking skill. Next, identification of study. The researcher chose this topic because there is incorrect speaking on students and the different speaking mastery on students. I think there is correlation in teaching learning process and speaking ability. Because when a teacher taught about something, the ability every or each student is different. So I think there is correlation. And the limitation of study. The limitation of study in my research is in order to reach to the expected goal, it will be impossible for the writer to analyze all the problems. So the writer will limit the scope is. The limitation of study is order to focus on speaking skill for 7th grade SMP and Wancawas in academic year 2016 until 2017. Problem statement. The researcher formulates the problem of the study as follows. For the first is there any correlation between teaching learning process on speaking skill and students' speaking ability? And the second, is there any correlation between teaching learning process using media on speaking skill and students' speaking ability? And the third, is there any correlation between material which given to student on speaking skill and students' ability? And the fourth, is there any correlation between teaching learning process on several methods on speaking skill and students' ability? And the fifth, the last problem statement is how to evaluate the speaking skill on SMP and Wancawas. Then theories of teaching. Teaching is deliver a material from teacher to student. There are many factors in teaching. There are teacher and there are student and there are material to teach. Student is the seeker, the receiver, and the saver of the subject material need to achieve the goal. And then the teacher, we need the teacher to teach. Why? Because there's no teacher. The teaching learning process will not happen. Teacher is the manager of teaching and learning activities and the teaching and learning catalyst. Yes, I mean catalyst. Goal. And then the third is goal. If there is not goal, we don't know where we will go. So we have to have goal in our activities. And the goal is a statement about the intended change which could be achieved after following certain teaching and learning process. And then material is the amount of information about the fact, principles, and concepts which are needed to achieve the goal. And then method is the way the teacher used for teach something to students. Then media is a help tool for teacher to teach their students. And then evaluation is the important thing in teaching. Why? Because evaluation is very important. In evaluation, we can know what the lacks of our teaching today, so we can evaluate what the lacks and what the problems, so we can evaluate the problems and we can do the better than before. Then technique on speaking. According to Fauziati, states that there are some activities that include on teaching speaking skill, namely role play, games, problem solving, and discussion. Maybe for these activities, I'm not explain it because we can read on my proposal. Then definition of speaking. Speaking is the ability to perform the linguistic knowledge in actual communication. Its function is to express an idea, feeling, thought, and needs orally. There are some components to make fluent in producing speech, namely vocabulary, pronunciation, grammar, fluency, and comprehension. Learning process. Learning process is a process to acquire knowledge. It needs hard work and sometimes will make students frustrated and get bored so that they lost their attention to a lesson. So for teacher, we have to make some creative method to teach in our method to teach for our students, so our students not bored and frustrated when we are in teaching when we are in learning process. Time and place of research. The researcher will be started on 1st March 2017, and it will take place on SMPN Wanjawas. The population of the research consists of 3 classes from 7 class on SMPN Wanjawas. The writer used cluster random sampling and chosen one class to be the sample for taking the data. The class consists of 31 students. Why the writer choose SMPN Wanjawas? Because in SMPN Wanjawas, the teacher used effective method, so the students in SMPN Wanjawas, while teaching learning process on speaking skill, they are not bored. I think that's my reason why I choose SMPN Wanjawas. And in the collecting data, the writer used some instrument. For the first is questionnaire, and the second is test. And then hypothesis. In hypothesis, the writer have 2 hypotheses. For the first is there is correlation between teaching learning process on speaking skill and student speaking ability. And the second, there is no correlation between teaching learning process on speaking skill and student speaking ability. Maybe that's all. And the formula of to count the formula to count the and the formula to count the data from methodology research methodology have been written on my proposal. Maybe that's all. The presentation of my proposal from me. Thank you for your attention. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. And before, I'm sorry if I make some mistake. I'm sorry for mistake that I have made. Once again, wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.